Yes, hi, hello, and welcome back. It's been a minute there, sports fan. Welcome to Shek Show. Oh my goodness, do we have a lot to catch up on? And I'm not just saying that this time. I mean it. We have not spoken with our guy Kevin Hench in quite some time. He's busy making his pages up there at the top of show business. So let's catch up with him. There's Eddie Spaghetti in his usual spot behind the glass. Appreciate all the feedback on the new show that I'm doing with Lebitard. It's Football America with an exclamation point. Even we appreciate anybody who has taken the time to subscribe and check it out. Please keep the comments coming on YouTube. Listen on audio wherever you find the podcasts. Like I say, Football America is also on YouTube, and Jeff Schwartz's stuff is now getting added to that page as well. So an extra reason to go over there. Probably a better reason than anything I have to say. Anyhow, thanks for all of that, and now to the matter at hand. That's our catch up session. Another reunion this summer. How are you, Kevin Hench?
I'm great, living the TreVeyon Henderson dream.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were all delighted in Patriots Nation when he fell to us, and then it obviously helped that pick feel even better when the other Ohio State running back who went ahead of him got arrested. It's like, okay, well, that's good. We got the guy who didn't get arrested. Judkins got arrested. And then, on his first touch, he took it 100 yards to the house. So Patriot Nation very fired up for the Vrabels this year.
I've
Uh,
heard tale of that. People are sending me like, do you agree with what Bill Simmons says? Like, what did he say? TreVeyon Henderson is now the best running back in football or something?
he's tied. Jameer Gibbs and TreVeyon Henderson are tied for the most
That's what
explosive.
it was. That's what it was, is that he's on par with Jameer Gibbs now. I mean, maybe he is. I don't know.
That's what August should be. Because,
Exactly.
the reality, of course, it's like it's so grim. You forget, like, when you see a pitcher like last night, the Dodger I'd never heard of, Enriquez came in and he throws 103. And you're like, oh my God, the Dodgers have another phenom. And they're like, oh, so he's going to get Tommy John surgery. Like, it's like now oh, so he'll get Tommy John. And with football, like you forget because you get so excited. You're like, oh, we got this guy and we got this guy in free agency. And then you're like, every day you wake up, you're like, that guy's out for the year. What happened? Oh yeah, Rashawn Slater, like non-contact, he's out. He's just out. It's so the horrors of training camp. It's like it's never like 2 weeks on the IL. It's like, oh yeah, he may never be the same. It's so
Well,
brutal.
we've talked about this, I feel like a few times, and we do have to circle back because it is always like a clean slate for football fans. Like it's sort of like baseball fights when they have bench clearing brawls in May. Almost perennially, they say, does baseball have a problem? There's more throwing at batters than there's ever been before. It's like it happens every 2 or 3 years, and then it becomes like the apocalypse has arrived. Same thing with injuries in football. You do feel like it must have been like the Chargers right out of the gate. We lost our left tackle. Well, season's over. Like Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball. What do you do? But you do have to. But it does feel like, right, to Devil's Dameshek, I do feel like there have been a lot of injuries right out of the gate this year, right, more than usual. But that can't be true. And the other thing about it is that the paradox of the super tweaked up 21st century, when I say tweaked up, I mean, pushing their
Jack,
body
yeah.
to the physical limits in the weight room and otherwise. And as you always say about the NBA, the big distinction between, like, wait, those guys, the guys in the 80s used to play back to backs, and they even used to play back to back to back sometimes. Like, how's that possible that they can't play 3 games in the same week, these NBA guys? It's because I know everybody wants to be a cynic about these guys make too much money and they don't care. And I know I perpetuate that too. But as you have pointed out, they go all out. They're in the red on every possession. That's the difference, right? Like, that
Yeah, I
today's
mean, look, you
athlete
can't,
leaves nothing out there play for play. It's not like I'm saving something for next series, coach. Like, no. They go all out, and that's why they get hurt more than they used to.
I mean, when Lillard, Tatum, and Halliburton's Achilles went in just consecutive order, like the playoffs were just sort of the NBA playoffs were decided by whose Achilles lasts the longest. I mean, I
Right.
don't, it's not crazy to say the Pacers would have won game seven. Like Halliburton was on fire and the Thunder were already going like, oh shit. Oh. Because, what the Thunder had proven is like, you better be up 15 because this team's going to beat you if it's 11 in the fourth quarter. So yeah, I think it's just that the level of athleticism you have to be elite just might be beyond what God's creation was. Like God's like, you can't redline for that long. And so obviously NFL athletes are even on another level of muscularity, speed, power, jacked. I mean, like,
Well, that one has more collisions. That's the extra factor.
but also like, and everybody just, you hold your breath literally on every pass protection where you're like, oh Christ, nobody fall on the outside of my left tackle's knee because it's just over. It's just over when the 600 pounds hits your guy's outside of his knee. You're like, oh, right, that's that. And so, it's like the breath holding in the NFL obviously starts in the middle of summer. And like when I saw that Chargers headline, I was like, of course, these poor bastards, they seem to have done everything exactly right. They already have the misfortune of being in the greatest quarterback of his generation's division. So it's like, okay, everything's going to be measured against Mahomes, kind of like all the teams in the AFC East during Brady's run. Like this is what you have to deal with every year. And then you look at what the Chargers had done. You're like, wow, that team can go into Arrowhead and hold the ball away from 15 and beat them. And then you're like, oh, one of your five least dispensable guys is gone. I mean, the whole point is you have Slater and Alt, you just have the bookends, good luck, with those guys. And so that was another kick in the nuts for Chargers fans who've had so many kicks in the nuts from guys who kick in the last 30 years. I feel bad for those fans, but super, for the moment, super excited about how things stand in New England with the
I'll
Drake
tell you
Mays.
the thing that people the expressed concern I have about the Patriots, and it's a pretty minimal one, is they haven't ripened collectively enough yet. I mean, that's a great spot to be in. Also, I counted up. I mean, because last year was a full on like, let's just see if the kids got it over 17 games, and you slowly but surely got there during the season. Was like, we got our guy. Now let's just build around him for the next couple of years. This is what an exciting time to be in because you have your guy now. We'll see what Eddie Spaghetti the Russell Wilson distraction and all of that. Plainly, they're gonna get Jackson Dart in there sooner rather than later. I would think. I don't see any value. It's the same thing I keep saying about the Browns. Like, why outside of injury? What value is there in having Joe Flacco? Why would you in the game? I mean, why would you put him over any of those youngsters that you have the options? Like, isn't the whole point to see if you have the guy at the only position that really matters between now and the next draft? That's kind of the way I see it. Meantime, though, we're really bearing the lead here. I know we have to catch up with each other and everything else. Spaghetti's back from his honeymoon, and I want to hear about that. And Hench is making his pages with Tim Allen and everything else. New season on the way and everything else. But we have to bend the knee to the Kelces and the Taylor Swift, right? I mean, that's the thing. Don't you see, everybody? Don't you see that the impossibly wealthy talking to each other back and forth and congratulating each other is what everybody has been chomping at the bit for years and years and years? I'm sorry to be a creep about it. Jason Kelce, I have bounced off of him a couple times. A delightful guy. Travis Kelce, the charisma precedes him into the room. He's a great guy. Taylor Swift seems lovely and, one of the all-time most successful and beloved musicians of all time. Good for all of them. my case has always been with these things. Don't you need Han Solo in the equation, aka someone like Dave, someone like Hench, someone like Spaghetti in that conversation? Because otherwise, it's just Jedi's talking to each other about how cool the Force is. That's I Conan O'Brien is awesome. Adam Sandler is awesome. They did a podcast. I don't know. I listened to it within the last month. I don't know, probably a couple months old. Two of the great comedic influences of the last 30, 40 years, certainly, and have done great things for the people around them. I love people love to get caught up in like, I don't like Adam Sandler movies. Like, hey, you know what he does? But what no matter what else you think, he employs a lot of people. And as the entertainment industry and the sports media industry sort of winnow things down more and more and more, keep shaving everything away. That's great stuff that Adam Sandler does. But they had this show and it was funny. They had their funny exchanges and funny riffs back and forth, but a lot of it was them talking, congratulating each other, basically. Like, well, you're just the best. No, 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 you're the best. No, but you really are. Like, no, but you're a pretty funny guy. And that's all it is. And this back and forth. And I get that everybody wants to be in the cool crowd and be looped into what everybody is talking about and everything. And of course, those guys are great. The Kelce brothers are nice guys and do a fine show. But I just feel like there's this diminishing return for everybody on the outside. Like there's this paring down of everything to now 29 total people that if they're not attached to the project, as it were, then it has no value going forward. I think there is something to corporate America taking over without being hopefully too pretentious art. Like this is not art what we're doing necessarily, but TV and movies and otherwise, it's just all just about all about like avoiding risk as much as you can possibly avoid it. And what does that get you to? It gets us to this place. Like, well, we know the floor is pretty high as long as Kevin Hart is attached to it. So get Kevin Hart attached to it, and then we can talk. Your great ideas besides the point until you have The Rock attached to it, or one of the smartless guys attached to it, or Stephen A. attached. Like it is a list of 29 total people. How say you, Hedge?
Spaghetti, I missed this part. We've been away from each other all summer basically, and so it's like you got married, yeah. But I missed this part where Shek goes, "Oh my God, we buried the lead. Eddie Spaghetti got married. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Jason Kelce, Adam Sandler, Conan O'Brien, Kevin Hart, The Rock. Like, what the fuck? It's like, what? I don't know what the last 10 minutes was. Like, it was like, hey, man, let's get to Eddie Spaghetti, man. We got to talk about this wedding. What the fuck is up with Sandler and O'Brien? Like, I don't even know what that introduction was. Like, I thought we're talking about serious injuries. Spaghetti almost died. I'm so excited to hear how Spaghetti survived his thing. Next thing you know, it's like, enough with Taylor Swift. Yes, enough with Taylor Swift.
All right, but first, I wanted to promote Kelly Ripa's new interview show. Okay. That our first guest is Amy Poehler and the Sandman, Adam Sandler. It's going to be great. Anyway, I'm sorry. Please, yes.
Spaghetti.
I just took, to answer your question, I took Shek's monologue hating the like rich and elite as just sticking up for me because of it's a weird scenario for me because I lost my job because of Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, and Taylor Swift going on their show, leaving Wave to go to Wondery. So my life has been a living hell with every single person on the planet watching, like with the 1.3 million people tuning into that live YouTube drop with them. But if we wanted to get into my honeymoon, I could for sure say how we almost left on the first day just because my wife Jada got vertigo. She has terrible like TMJ, I think they call it, and like her jaw cracks, equilibrium's all thrown off. She was wearing these like wristbands that help with like the motion, earplugs, like we're on the airplane.
Sounds like you scored a real winner there, Spaghetti.
So I'm just like trying to enjoy it. I'm supposed to be jacked up for this whole trip. Like, we're sitting first class going to even though it wasn't really a fancy first class, to St. Louis show. We had to fly out of Miami International. And I'm like, great, I'm with this person who's wearing like sunglasses and like in on the airplane who's like she's like moving like Frankenstein because she doesn't want to like turn her head. I'm like, this is gonna be something else. We get like she's kind of excited we get there, whatever, and it's just not getting any better. They're like, we can call in a doctor, but the doctor is like 3 hours away, and they could come like Monday, and this is like, Friday evening when we land. And on top of like the delays of the airline and like waiting in the line in customs. So I'm already off to like not a hot start where I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so bad. We're checking like the airlines and like if we could just turn around and go back like once we got to the hotel because also the weather it's hurricane season quote unquote for the Caribbean and although St. Lucia is pretty lucky in terms of the path, they said the weather every day was gonna have rain. Spoiler, it did not rain like at all, but we're like, all right, the rain's bad. She's nauseous. I'm like losing my mind because I'm finally getting like a vacation, a break from work. And she's like, I can't do anything. She's like, I'm gonna be in bed like the first day. She's like, you can go do what you want. And I'm like, all right. So I guess I'm solo venturing. So we almost went home. Ticket
Be
prices
funny
were
if you
like
picked up a girl.
third.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I'm
ticket.
assuming you went to a brothel.
Well, we're on
It's
a
like, oh, okay. I'll take your word, hun.
St.
Wow.
Lucia
St.
is such
Lucia
a
rules.
it's such a weird place though because there's like one road that like circles the island and it takes you hours to get anywhere and there's like obviously no Uber readily available. The resort we were at only had 33 rooms, so it was a way smaller place. So not much going on there outside of me like if I wanted to sit in the beach alone. So luckily she gets a little
Well,
bit
wait,
better.
let me just ask you, just to set the scene. Is it one of these places that I see? It's ubiquitous online these days. If people these in summertime are not at the local lake or the lake they grew up at or in Greece, and
Mm,
everybody when they go to Greece is in the exact same spot to my eye. They're in that place where it's like all those white buildings that ascend up the
yeah, I know what you're
mountainside and
talking
then
about.
the blue ocean
Mm,
behind them. I have no, but they're always in the exact same restaurant, it seems.
yep.
Or the other one is those like on some remote island, those like tiki hut things that's are like
That's like in the
in
Maldives, yeah.
circle a
Yeah.
pier kind of a thing. I've always wanted to
Or
go to one of those. Is
Maldives
that
and
what it is?
Bali, that was something that we were thinking about, but no, it takes you like 2 full days to get there. And my qualifications for this honeymoon, I was like, look, if you don't want to make an itinerary, that's fine because that's what she usually does. I was like, let me go somewhere where like 3.5 hour flight or less. That's what St. Lucia is. I was, wanted to stay in relatively close time zone. I didn't want to deal with any of that. And I wanted somewhere where it was all inclusive. So this was like an all inclusive thing. The resort, it was a super, it was like fancy, awesome place. We had our own private like plunge pool and stuff, but not one of those like huts that are on the water. The dinner area actually reminded me of White Lotus this past season, where they all ate like at the nighttime dinner scenes. It looked exactly like that. I'll send you guys some pictures. It's eerie.
Did you talk
So
Was
to
it
anybody?
I
was it
made friends with
super
everyone.
was it super boring too, like the third season of White Lotus?
Beginning of it was pretty boring with her in bed, not moving, and I was like wandering around. It did get better. Weather was great. She got better. The doctor actually did come, gave her some pills, so she was fine, no nausea. Ended up turning around, and I did become friends. She got the local witch doctor came, and yeah, so we
This
did
is some honeymoon.
we got through it and I did make friends with a lot of people, the bartender, the staff, these two bartenders, Zach, and Jerry, I became really tight with. So this will lead into me almost dying on the trip. So things are going smoothly. We're really jacked up. We met a lot of great couples. We're like, this is a lot of
Okay, well, I
fun.
mean, like Hench, I cannot imagine. Maybe I can imagine your lovely bride Heather doing this. She's an outgoing, delightful sort. Not that does not describe neither of those qualities define you in any way, nor do they define me. Would you, on your honeymoon, be talking to other people? I mean that is a nightmare to me. The idea of like, hey, we're in from KC. How about I would be like, please,
Well, this
But
please,
is
there's
the
a
let's not
there's a
problem. I
talk.
mean,
bar. There's a hotel bar, and it was
well,
awesome. So it's like that's where
well,
at night.
Spaghetti, you have to remember, Shek, Spaghetti's significantly younger than we are. So what he'll learn, God willing, they have a family, they have children, they're gonna go to, enroll in school. And then like basically what you learn is everybody you chat up, everybody you make a connection with is a massive fucking disappointment. Like 90 seconds into every conversation, you're like, I got to get out of there. How do I keep talking to this fucking guy? Like it's insane. Like on day one of school, you size up all the other parents. You're like, wow, oh for 36 again. Like no interest in being friends with any of these people. But Spaghetti's young and naive.
I hear you.
I
By the
do
way,
that game.
apology. I should have said this at the top. The real headline is here in LAUSD land, back to school today. I failed. I promised everybody as soon as I grew up, my first order of business was to reduce the school week from 5 days to 4 and to expand summer break. It's gone the exact opposite way, and my heartfelt apologies to the younger generation. Now back to you, Spaghetti.
It's funny because there was the hotel bar where everyone kind of post dinner, because again, it's all inclusive. You have to pick your dinner time, so you see the same exact people at dinner again, very White Lotusy. And then
What a nightmare!
The awesome staff is like they're bartending this like cliffside bar, and it's awesome there. Also, they're pumping the AC, so it's cool. It's so hot down there near the equator. I'm always sweating, so I was like cool in there. They have this local beer called Piton. I was crushing those, and we met a great couple from New York City, and met another great couple from Oxford, and like the guy went to like the first Oasis concert. We're talking about music. I had a great time with the people. Also, because my wife was in bed from like Friday to like Monday, and I'm like, you suck. I want to talk to some other people. I'm tired of talking to you. I was like texting.
Interesting.
When you
Go
meet
ahead,
a great couple, and then and then they turn out to be swingers, and then you're like, I'm down, but my wife's bedridden, so I'll just be coming solo to fuck your wife, but I won't be providing my wife for the festivities.
Unless you want me to get my wife. She's got these things on her wrists, though.
She's got the wrists and the sunglasses.
Disclaimer: this was not like hedonism or like a sandals. It was not some sex cult. That's not my style. So normal people at the bar, meeting them. It was a good change of pace.
My wife's kind of in a sensory deprivation tank. You could probably just go in there. She wouldn't know it's me or you. I mean, I'm a heavier guy, but Zach, Jerry, you guys seem but we're in room 31 of 33.
Yeah.
Still think it's
Look
me.
who was listening. He remembered Zach and Jerry.
Zach and Jerry.
That was pretty
good. They're
Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Kevin Hart, The Rock.
My good buddy. So speaking of Zach and Jerry, Zach. So later,
I didn't mean to upset you, Hench.
I just wanted to hear how Spaghetti almost died, and then
all right. Now we're hearing about it. Well, we can do two things. We can do two things. By the way, when the Spaghetti said Oxford, I was wondering immediately. So Oxford, Mississippi, or Oxford, England. And that's got to be a pretty big difference between the natives of the two places.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh man.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, they were fantastic, and we like became good friends with a lot of people. So hopefully we do see them in the future. But speaking of Zach and Jerry,
spoiler alert, you're never going to see or hear from any of them
probably
again.
not.
And if you do, it'll be a chore and a big pain in your ass to have to meet them somewhere. Go ahead.
Well, so speaking of Zach and Jerry, became close friends with them. They're serving me tons of beer every single night, and there's a shipwreck at the beach.
That's their job. They're not your friends. They're bartenders. They're supposed to give you.
We had each other on Instagram, so I'd say things are going pretty well. But
all right, take it back.
And there was no one else there. They were like they were basically making fun of the entire, because again, it's off season. There's not a lot of rooms are filled, and I was there every single night drinking. They're like, "Thank God for you, because it wasn't for you, like this would be the most boring job ever." And we hit it off, all good. So I was like asking about the shipwreck, and I was like, I want to go see it. We did kayaking one day, but I'm like, I don't want to do the scuba thing and like have to like do the training class for it and like have to go down. I'm like, can I just snorkel over there? And like, yeah, it's far. Probably somebody has to tug you out. So then Jada had the idea. She's like, well, I don't want to go underwater because the vertigo, it'll screw up with the equilibrium. You get water in your ear, all that. She's like, we just did the kayaking. She's like, why don't you do what the guys on the beach are doing, and I'll paddle out and you could hold on. And I'm like, great. So we do it. And then Zach's like, you're not going to see anything. Water's too deep, too dark. The shipwreck's down there. It's going to be a waste. And plus, like, you're super far out. I don't listen to him. So next day, we're like, we're going to go do it. We get the boat in the water. We're going around just a little cove. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm seeing a lot of cool stuff. I do have like the flippers on, so I am swimming a little bit better. But again, Jada's, what is she? 120, 130 on a bad day. I'm now, 250. I'm taking the TRT. She's lugging along somebody who's way bigger.
250.
Oh yeah, every bit. And
literally 250.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I got in, I'm in relatively okay shape, for the wedding.
I'm calling your friends Matt Money Smith and Handsome Hank Hodgson now.
That's
They're going to
fine.
be very concerned about this. They're going to be very
I've been
concerned
the
about
same way
you.
for quite a while, but I'm on the testosterone. Things are going okay. So
Okay.
it's 100
You need some of
degrees
those
out,
wrist things.
beating sun. She's paddling out in like the little cove, very close inshore. Again, no lifeguard, small beach. The shipwreck's out by a white buoy. That's like our marker. And when you're on the beach, you're like, that is pretty far. But when you're in the water, you're like, I can make it. So we're going there, and then once you leave the cove where like the current could hit the water is like t touching outside of where the cliffs end, it's a lot faster and the waves are a little bit bigger, and then you're like that Caribbean water that's super clear and you can see through the bottom. You no longer can see the bottom, and I'm like, huh, this is getting kind of spooky now. And then Jada's like, I can't make any progress, and I'm holding on, and I'm just like basically spinning her because she doesn't have the power to pull me out there. So now I'm like out super far trying to get to the stupid thing. I'm like swallowing goddamn salt water. I'm like choking up, and I'm like, this is bad. I'm like, we are out far. You don't have the strength to turn around and pull me, and I'm like now in no man's land. So I'm not gonna reach the thing because I'm also getting scared that I'm like, I don't. There's not gonna be any big sharks down there, but I just don't like that I can't see, especially out of my peripheral. So I'm like losing my mind. And she's trying to like turn the thing and turn us back, but she can't make any progress. She's like, I have to go a little bit, and then like you have to swim a little bit to like give yourself a break. So this was like going on for a solid half hour of us out there by ourselves with no one helping, and boats are coming by. We're out so far that boats that are turning into the dock are coming in below us. Like we are out past where boats have to turn. That's how far we were. Funny enough, our Oxford friends were coming back on that boat, and they're like, "Oh, we saw you guys. You look like you're having fun." I was like, "No, my lungs were full of salt water." So it was just basically me pushing her like kayak, kicking a little bit, her taking a break, and somehow just like kind of riding the waves, even though it was pushing us to the side. And like I said, after a solid half hour or so of coming back to the beach, I somehow got there. I like sat on the rocks and like the beach. I took the stupid flippers off my legs. They were like jello. And then like they just took the kayak from us. Like, oh, that was like that fun. And we're like, no, we got stuck. We couldn't see the shipwreck. And they're like, oh yeah, you can't see without the scuba gear. So like I don't know, we don't know why you did that. And I was like, I
Well,
don't know
look at
either.
that. We've never seen Tina. We've never seen a manatee, have we? I don't know. No, that's our friend Edward. That's our friend Edward over
And I
there.
told everyone at the bar at night, and Zach was like, I told you not going to see anything. So word got around, and everyone was making fun of me because everyone did see me at the beach. This, disgusting cottage cheese, sunburnt red, white, pink body, just like dead. I could not walk for like an hour. I swimming like the Michael Phelps breakfast thing with the calories now makes sense because I was out in the ocean and I'm trying to push myself, and I'm like, this is the hardest work I've ever done in my entire life to push my wife on a kayak closer and to fight the current and get back in, while also being like, I hope nothing bites my legs was that. So yeah, this honeymoon was this was something else. This was a
Well,
crazy trip.
couple thoughts. One, at 250 pounds, it sounds like you're sticking with the Michael Phelps caloric intake, even though you're not going in the water anymore. So
It's
that,
true.
I don't know
Just
that
land
counts.
workouts for me. Just iron
But
workouts.
Leaving out an important step.
I I can't. What you've described, being in the water, pushing, flapping your legs, the wife kind of doing nothing, like this. This is such a metaphor for marriage. Like you've jumped 20 years ahead. Like you figured it out right away. Hey, it doesn't seem like we're making any progress. It feels like we're gonna die. Yeah, that's marriage. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, we're not getting anywhere. It's just the two of us. Can you do anything? No, my legs are fucking killing me. So what? Get us to shore. It's perfect. It's gonna be great.
Didn't I mention that my head is bothering me? Please save us both. Boy, you really had your Jack and whatever her name was in Titanic thing, huh? That really is what you're describing in a
Mm.
more modern way. She had the door or whatever that thing was,
Yeah.
the headboard that she was on, and she wouldn't
Yep.
let Jack on, and of course he froze to death as a result. Now you've experienced the same thing.
Yeah,
You basically remade your own Titanic.
and it was a one-man canoe or kayak the day before we had the two-man one. And I was like joking around with her after. I was like, if we reverse roles and you couldn't swim, would you try to jump on the kayak? And she's like, absolutely, I would have. And I was like, if I did that to her, I'm like, you would have fell in the water. So I couldn't do that. So yeah, there was no room for me to jump on. Obviously, with this frame I got carrying around, and I even thought for a moment too to like, is it worth me wading out in the water by myself see if how long it takes her just to paddle back alone, get one of the staff members to hop on like a little skiff with a motor and then come get me. That would have been so embarrassing though. I would have had to get the next flight out. I couldn't be like the guy who was saved by like the hotel, like the restaurant waiter or something. Like I just couldn't do that.
But that process is so hairy when you're like, am I in trouble? Because I'm a shitty swimmer. Like I have fucking no chops in the water. And so I love like my 11-year-old's a much
You
better
grew up in the Bahamas. How can you
grew
not
up in the
swim?
Virgin Islands. I'm a fucking landlubber. I think I don't know. Like I was always good at the land sports and then fucking finishing last in the swim meet. And so when I'm in the pool with the much better swimmer, my 11-year-old, there's always this thing of like, oh, good, I'm out here. I'm out here to protect her. It's like, what are you going to do? She's a much better swimmer than you are. Like, I can't take someone. I can't lifeguard. I can barely get myself to shore. So if like the idea that I would be carrying another human being, like it's insane. Like, so
well, imagine being a lifeguard. Talk about embarrassing. What if you had to go save somebody? Like, look at that guy out there. Let's go get him. We got to save him. And like, I can't do this one myself. I need to.
That's what I'm saying. They needed a motor. They're going to like drag me back. Oh man.
I need some help. Zach and Terry get. By the way, did you paint Zach or Terry like one of your French girls? Which did you choose? That's the only difference between you and the Titanic relationship. She was bedridden, so you had to pull Zach or Terry into the lovemaking session in the little the horse-drawn carriage thing. Well, so you pulled through, and that's I once did that. That's the most noble thing I've probably ever done in my life. Is we were once playing in the ocean as little kids, my sister Debbie and I had one of those little blow up rafts out there with us, and all of a sudden she was like started screaming and crying, and jellyfish got her on the leg, and so she jumped up on the thing, and I pulled her all the way in, taking multiple jellyfish stings or stings.
Yeah.
And then nobody peed on me to make it right. But that I did that. I dragged her all the way. I took 3 shots myself and spared young Debbie the pain.
Nice.
A UVM grad along with Kevin Hench.
All right.
All right, so that's it. Great
champions.
honeymoon spaghetti. Sounds like you're off to a rocking start as a married man.
The stories don't sound great, but it ended up being an awesome. I actually got emotional again leaving the hotel because I had such a great time with the people there, and Jada just like turning around having a blast. I'm happy for her. And then the good old bartenders Zach and Jerry. We did a lot of fun stuff. It was a great place. We definitely would go back to. And I'm a huge fan of the all-inclusive strategy where you just like you don't have to think about. They're just serving you constantly. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was a great time.
Very good. I watched last night the first episode of Alien, the TV series. Did either one of you drink that in? Pretty good. Those movies. It's a weird. People always, it's one of the people's favorite things. What's the best movie series or trilogy or whatever? That one gets left out all the time. The Alien movies. Do you watch those, Hench? I know you kind of.
I mean, I've seen them. I've seen them all the way up to Resurrection, I guess.
They're good. I mean, they're the Winona Ryder one stinks, but the like 1, 2, and 3 are all gems, and then the Prometheus ones with what's his name from Inglourious Bastards and otherwise plays Magneto. Can't think of his name.
Michael Fassbender.
Fassbender, yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, he's the best in Inglourious Bastards. But they're all really good pictures. I don't know why they don't get more buzz.
Now, I was having this thought about you guys and how the circadian rhythms of sports, like when the Red Sox, like, and again, like the Red Sox are ahead of schedule. They're not really contenders, but they've kind of overachieved. But then, when the 174 hitting middle infielder can't drop down a sacrifice bunt, you're like, you can't do anything, but you also can't do this fucking thing. Like David Hamilton he never plays, but every time he does, he costs the team the game. Like, how are you in the fucking majors? So then we all do this thing emotionally where you check out on the current sports season and start moving ahead emotionally to the looming sports season. So I'm like, fucking Drake May, TreVeyon Henderson, let's go. I don't need these Red Sox to get me much further. We're getting very close to opening day. And then it's like, so the Celtics have to get you to the Red Sox opening day, and then the Red Sox have to bridge the summer to the Patriots. And then I started thinking about Shek. Like, you have no basketball team. Your hockey team just aged into irrelevancy. Your baseball team is, at one point, the Pirates had the best ERA in the National League and were at the second worst record. They don't, the Pirates don't get you to May. So I'm like, what are you like? You must just be waiting for Aaron Rodgers. Like, what's your emotional state athletically? You're in a wasteland.
I mean, listen, I think I've made it pretty clear. I try to Devil's Dameshek it because obviously a lot of people who are diehard sports fans on the banks of the Three Rivers are up in their feels right now saying exactly what you're saying and have been for the last couple of years. And I pushed back. I said, no, things are not great right now. But I identified, I think we talked about it here. Was it? I think it was. There's like a 6-month window or a 3-month window, maybe even briefer. Hench lost interest and got up and left for the audio listener here. Thanks for listening to me, Eddie Spaghetti. You're always there for me. Boy, though, I just am now noticing that your cheeks very closely match up with your bright red T-shirt.
I am sweating profusely. Went for a walk this morning outside. It's like 95 plus degrees and humid, and I did the hot shower, and I cannot stop sweating for the life of me. So yeah, I'm drenched. I'm going to
I
change
thought that
my
was
clothes.
the honeymoon glow. But anyhow, I identified if you start the clock when Terry Bradshaw in 1983, December of 1983, hurts his elbow in Shea Stadium against the Jets. Neat trick that the Steelers will start up against the Jets again in a couple of weeks here against Justin Fields. He hurts his elbow. That ends the dynasty once and for all. The thing people forget about is that the Steelers were still kind of halfway decent right around there. They had a chance if Terry Bradshaw didn't get hurt. Anyway, he did get hurt. And the Pirates were an atrocity, and the Penguins were an atrocity, and had no Lemieux just yet, and had suffered the heartbreaker against the Islanders, and Pitt football had begun its slide, to which they still have not fully pulled themselves out of, and all of that. That's now the 1A. This is now the worst time in Pittsburgh sports history. This is it. I mean, the chance that they have is for the Steelers to pull them out of it. And that kind of makes spiritual sense to any Pittsburgh sports fan, is that the Steelers are the salvation more often than not. But, and again, I know I bellyache a lot about they're going to win 9 games, everybody. Like, don't worry about that. That's not my concern. It's just that things get so sideways and they're getting so far away from anything recognizable. You really want to put the cherry on top of this offseason. The rumors are out there. Odell Beckham might be next to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what the hell? I mean, but that's a legit rumor.
Well, that's a good segue. So you're at an emotional low point. Spaghetti, Knicks, Rangers, Yankees, Giants. Like, how are you doing emotionally?
Well, the Yankees right now are, I mean, it could not be any closer to firing Aaron Boone, or at least they should be firing Aaron Boone. I've never seen the noises loud for a Yankees
Are they going to make
manager
the
in my entire
playoffs?
life.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
they may be able to, but like, and they did the trade deadline correctly. They brought in the guys they needed to at the deadline, and those guys blew the first game they all played together. They bring in Devin Williams, Airbender, who was one of the best closers, if not the best closer in the NL. They get him from the Brewers, and the guy, changes the 50-year-old beard policy with the Yankees, and then they can't. He is the least clutch closer, which is the one thing you're supposed to be as a closer, is to be clutch, and he cannot do that. I think when the noise is as hot for Aaron Boone to get out of there, and I've never seen the amount of former players that used to play for him say that the Yankees are in a mess right now. So that's why I'm like, I don't really have the faith of them. If they make the playoffs, great. I don't see them winning series. And a few months ago, I thought they had the chance to do that, and everyone's happy with the homegrown players, with the Austin Wells and the Anthony Volpes, and they're just not good ball players. This is not Posada and Jeter, and when all those guys came up in the mid '90s, this is something different. And then it stinks, for Judge, who started off the year fantastic, and he's going to probably go ringless in his career. And I know Garrett Cole's already throwing from a flat surface, but
probably.
But it's
in
just
his career.
I think if they don't win this year or next year, I mean, maybe next year, you're going to keep doing this thing, run it back. Like, also, Giancarlo Stanton's not getting any younger. He can't run, but the guy is still raking at the plate. So it's just, there's not enough. The star players are just aging out, and the young players are not as good as we think. And there's some guys in the farm that are just still a little too further away. So the Yankees kind of sinking, but at the same time, the Giants, because of Jackson Dart, because of what people are saying about Abdul Carter being, unblockable, and with all the Micah Parsons nonsense, people are like, oh, this is now the best, Penn State pass rusher. And and you mentioned before, Shek, like the Russell Wilson thing. Like, I'm okay with Russ starting as many games as he has to, because I don't know what I'm supposed to. What is a good season for this
two
time?
or three. See if Jackson Dart is good. That's the point of this season.
Yeah, but I don't. But why though? Why put him in September? Why put Jackson Dart in September already?
Because it's a free agency league now, and you have 5 years with the guy, and you need to figure out before, not 5 years from now, or not even, you need to figure out by 2026, did we get the answer? Like we've talked about, the thing that gets in the way of that is Dable, and any head coach who kind of is like, if I run the kid out there and we get certain evidence that this is not the answer for us, then they're going to fire me. That's why you hold off on Jackson Dart if you're Brian Dable, because you say, like, you can kick it down the road. Like, I know this season isn't going good, but you see the pieces are coming together, and once we get Jackson Dart in there in 26, now we'll be cooking with gas. That buys you another year if you're him.
I think he's going to play, but I think, and this is my take on them signing not one but like two, in theory, startable quarterbacks in Jameis and Russ, is just surround Dart with guys, who I guess are on two opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of like their behavior. But I think surrounding with veterans like that, to me, indicates that they don't want Dart to see the field for as long as he possibly could. And also, it's like, I think Dable and Shane's job is safe now because of this great draft, and they brought in some nice pieces. But again, you're playing Dart, and he's getting the crap kicked out of him, and you're not going to finish better than third at best anyway in the division, because they are not better than the Eagles, and they are not better than Washington. So I don't know what a good season is, but I will say the vibes.
I don't buy. Let me just say this, though. I don't buy. I know it happens with you hear it a lot with NHL defensemen and MLB pitchers. It's like you don't want to introduce them to the highest level too soon, because it'll jar their confidence and they may never get it back. You hear that applied to QBs. Is there actual evidence that happens to anybody? Alex Smith was decimated by his own play and bad coaching and otherwise, but he came through clean all right. His journey was different than a lot of guys, but he arrived late as it was. And
Manning led the league in interceptions. Like, you got to get those mistakes out of the way. Like, that's what
I kind of agree. Like David Carr, even we've talked. I don't think he was wrecked emotionally by his infamous rookie season when nobody blocked for him. Sorry, Hench.
I would say about what's a successful season for Spaghetti's Giants is essentially what the Patriots went through last year, which was an abomination for their record, but they found out they had the guy. So it's like, all right, let's blow out the coaching staff, but at least we have a quarterback. If the Giants went 4-13, but Jackson Dart had a good second half, that would be a win. The thing that I think must be booing Spaghetti a little bit emotionally is the shit show in Dallas, which is so delightful for everyone who hates America's team. It's this 21st century phenomenon of let's put 80-year-olds in charge of everything is so fucking insane. Like, it's like whatever you think about Biden or Trump politically, it's like, obviously they were sharper in the 1980s. They fucking have obviously lost their fastball. And watching these Jerry Jones interviews, like, he's like,
I agree with what you're getting at.
Oh my God, he's holding court like he's still got it. And he's zinging and you're like, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're like, we are fucking doomed until someone wheels this guy out of the facility. Like, what? He doesn't know what he's saying. He's contradicting himself sentence to sentence. Like, it's like, if you're Micah Parsons and you're looking at the Eagles and the Commanders, you're like, yeah, I don't want to be here either. Like, who wants to be there? Like, the Cowboys are in that miserable, not a contender, can't go for the first overall pick, just good enough, but not, and it's like, and you listen to Jared go on and on, you're like, wow, as long as he's the boss, no one has to worry about that team.
Schottenheimer could flame out, and this Micah Parsons thing, if it extends, if they actually get to the season and Micah Parsons is not in uniform, the wheels are off there. The commies were a great story, but you can at least make the case that they were on the right side of a lot of one-score games and that they'll regress that way. The evidence of the 21st century is, when you remove the Chiefs and the Patriots from the conversation, is that it's very hard to be playing in the title game or reaching a Super Bowl the year after you even win the Super Bowl. What I'm saying is, if the Giants could be halfway decent, you could have a fun year that is better than what Hench is even describing, but I agree with his point. The thing with Jackson Dart, too, is we talked about it with Daniel Jeremiah a number of months ago before the draft. I think it's because he's a flaxen-haired white guy from Ole Miss or something, but people always include the word sneaky when they describe it, his athleticism. But that's the thing. Mm-hmm. He can run. He's a good runner. And in that kind of an offense that Dable's going to drop him into, I could absolutely see it working out halfway decently, especially with the defense, and it should be great.
The Giants' defense is going to be good.
Well, they're just not going to have a lead in the second half. That's the problem.
But that's what I'm saying about, like, what is a good season, because I agree with Hench. The D-line, especially of the defense, is good, and they did a really good job in the offseason of adding defensive back pieces with, the big free agent signings and the a couple pieces in the draft. The defense is young. I like a lot of things about the defense, and I think the O-line, as long as Andrew Thomas is healthy, should be fine. Neighbors may lead the NFL in targets this year, and they have a good running back group now with drafting Scatterbo, and they had Tyrone Tracy. There's a lot of things to like, which is why I'm like, what is a good season? And because if you play dart, you're going to hurt your win-loss, because the rest of the team is like, not that they're a playoff caliber team, but I think they are a competitive team. But if you put in Russ at whatever Russ has left, and I know he was terrible the last 5 weeks of the season last year, but if Russ has something, or if Jameis has something, you can get them. You could get in these games, and I could see them having a 7, 8, 9-ish range and being ahead of the Cowboys. But I think if you play dart, you're probably looking for 6 wins or less.
You're not going to the Super Bowl with Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. So once you acknowledge that reality, it is very hard to convince me that you shouldn't go with the kid. And I'm not just saying that about the Giants. With any same thing with the Browns. And what is Joe Flacco going to get you? Not a trip to the Super Bowl. So, okay, so then get him out of the way, unless you need him because you need a quarterback to receive the snap. Like, that would be the only reason the Cleveland Browns should run him out there. Hench, we did Pittsburgh. We did New York sports fan. By the way, the connection before we hear Boston is the Aaron Judge thing. The reason I think it's a little bit easier for Yankees fans to be like, I think that era may just come and go, and what a shame. And Aaron Judge maybe had up there in the history of people, like, was on track to have as good a 2-season run as any hitter in MLB history. But he's never won a title. And that's what Cam Hayward is going through in Pittsburgh right now. Like, I need more money. And people are like, a lot of the fans are pushing back hard on that. I think it would be very different if he had a Lombardi in his locker. I think people would be like, well, you got to pay whatever he wants. But now people are like, I don't know. Yeah, it would be good to keep him. Anyway,
but
Boston.
at least Cam Hayward didn't drop a routine fly ball in the World Series. So
it'd be weird if he did.
Be weird.
Not even on the Yankees.
So look, in the vicissitudes of sports emotion, obviously the Tatum thing, that's the gut punch that you fear as a sports fan. Guy cut down in his prime, now has to do a year. So the Celtics are doing the right thing, which is like, don't fucking pretend you're a contender without your guy. Get rid of all these contracts, get under the apron, and start looking 2 years down the road, which is just like, it's a weird, like, it's almost like a strike year. Like, Yeah, there's no basketball this year for Boston fans. Like this is like, okay, that's fine. Bruins obviously have a long road back to relevance.
You guys are worse than us.
Yeah, we're bad.
We have
But
the greatest player of the millennium. How about that? You don't have that. At least I get to enjoy that.
hey, keep interrupting me. I'm going to drop Crosby's backhand across your face. Okay, that's what that Shek's hat makes me think of. His Crosby's backhand is what he threatens the kids with. Hey, get ready for school. Got my Crosby's backhand hat on. So Celtics, okay, year off. Bruins terrible, but this Roman Anthony thing is so fucking awesome. Like just homegrown kid, 21. Every day he does something that hasn't been done since Ted Williams. Like it's incredible. He's a lot like Judge in that he's just a sweet guy and a good teammate and like a great citizen. You're like, wow. So that part of the summer has been amazing. Red Sox, ahead of schedule, unloaded the ingrate Rafael Devers. Giants went in the tank immediately. That was fantastic. But
that is really an amazing thing. Like right as that trade happens, the Giants do this and the Red Sox do that. It's really
just
wild.
Like what happened here. Like you could point to the date. Like what happened here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got rid of our best hitter. Wait, they got your best hitter and started sucking? Yeah, I don't know. That's what happened. But vibes are real. But I think for all of us, maybe you and hockey for you might be close, Shek. But football's king in America. Football, is sort of the season we plug into for the longest because it's basically year round. We're paying attention to it. So right. When there's a bright green arrow next to your football team, and I think that's true for both me and Spaghetti, that wherever we are right now, we're on the ascent. And that is just an awesome feeling. Like the texts, your buddy sends you a text of a play from practice. You're like, yeah, man, we got this, so it's very exciting. Obviously Pat's hit rock bottom and the idea of bouncing off rock bottom with a great draft, and the kid from Alabama might, the center might start at left guard. He's so far ahead of schedule, which is a perfect, the Cole Strange thing was almost the button on the Belichick bad draft story was the Cole Strange overreach and McVay laughing that we had that guy in the 4th round. And then the Patriots getting Wilson in the 3rd round and being like, oh yeah, Cole Strange is our 7th lineman.
I didn't know it had gotten that grim for Cole Strange on the depth chart. That is grim. All right, I think we can just about get out of here. And this is a good sign. We hadn't talked in a long while, and now it took me, I know I monologued for the first 20 minutes, and I'm sorry about that again, Hench. I know you were upset by it, but I think we found a nice rhythm here on the back end. Get a lot of questions about what are we going to do with Shek Show now? What's to do with it? I love yapping with you guys, and it's as simple as that for me. If you guys like kibitzing, I say let's keep on kibitzing and see what hay we can make here. Really, the monologue at the top is really what I'm kind of getting at where we're concerned here. I like doing it. I hope that the audience enjoys it. The first order of business, does Hench enjoy it? Does Spaghetti enjoy it? Do I enjoy it? I certainly do. So I hope we can keep making noise for everybody. I really appreciate all the feedback we get, like what's going on. I announce this thing and whatever's going on. People, I get, what's going to happen with Shek Show. So I appreciate that there's an audience out there that is interested in us continuing to yap. So I hope we'll do it. And the last question I have for you, Hench, is because you're going to get real excited. I can hear it already. You're back in. Kind of lean back, relax. You kept your dignity around the transition out of Belichick into the new world order up in Foxborough. So you're going to love Mike Vrabel, obviously. Would he, in a fight to the death, not for fun, a fight to the death, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, be able to beat up Dan Campbell?
Yikes. I don't know. I think Campbell would drag him out to the deep waters.
Do you? Those are the two.
have his way.
Those are
with
the two, right? No one would challenge those two cats.
I mean,
among head coaches,
Vrabel has a little bit more of the middle-aged man's body.
I think he would win.
Campbell, that guy with his 11 venti espressos, I would be very worried about Dan Campbell. But I will say this in closing, it's amazing that Spaghetti almost bookended the penis funeral of getting married with his actual funeral. And I think we need to live in the gratitude and the light of Spaghetti's survival by continuing with the Shek Show as our schedules allow. Because, what a blessing to have Spaghetti still walking the earth with those impact tremors at 250 pounds like a fucking T-Rex.
There are no flukes in life. Why do you think the good Lord above spared him for this?
For this.
And also for his ongoing relationship with Zach and Terry, too. Where he's got a
Jerry.
Those two
Jerry.
Whatever. I don't give a good goddamn. All right, listen. Good times as always with Kevin Hench.